Okay, so I don't know what it is about this moment where we see Mount Lady use a truck as like a boot to stomp on Nobu base, but for some reason, this shot right here is probably the most badass shot to me in the entire episode. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just something about the fact that she slips a truck on like a fucking shoe and actually just uses it to stomp on a base. I don't know, something about that's extremely badass, and it got me hyped for the episode. Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so for the past 2 weeks, ever since the title for this week's episode of Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero Academia, whatever you want to call it, ever since the title for this episode, episode 47, was released about like 2 or so weeks ago, all I've been hearing from people, where it be YouTube reviewers, people in comment sections on YouTube videos, people in forums, all the manga readers out there who knew what was coming up in this series based off of based off their knowledge of the manga, have been saying, look out for episode 47. Episode 47 is going to be the turning point of this series. This is going to be the point where a lot of people are going to jump on board. Anyone who hasn't already been on board for Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero Academia, if you aren't already on board, this is the point where we'll get you on board. And you know what? Episode 47 is here. It came, and yeah. Ultimately, I feel like this episode is just going to leave a lot of people disappointed. And it's not that it was a bad episode. It really wasn't. For what it was a really good episode. It's set up for what's coming up in the next week's episode. And, it's an episode to be hyped about. But with all the hypeness that we've had for like the past 2 or so weeks, since the title for this episode has been released, the episode being titled All for One, all us manga readers, we are, even not even just manga readers, everyone in the series in general, whether you read a manga or you watch the anime, we all pretty much know at this point that All for One is being built up to be like the big bad, as Shigaraki calls All Might the final boss. And when we manga readers saw the title for this episode, we all thought, all right, well, this is the arc that we're on. This is the arc that got a lot of people hyped for the manga series in general. And this one scene in general is probably something that's going to happen in this episode based off the title. And because of that, we were hyping up all over the place. You had YouTubers talking about how epic the episode's going to be just based off the title. You had people in the comment section saying, "Oh my God, this is going to be the point where everyone who's not on board is going to jump ship and get on board for this series." And you had people in forums saying, "Yo, look out for this episode. This episode's going to be hype." And ultimately, it just didn't live up to the hypeness that we put behind it. Now, like I said, this was not at all a bad episode. This is actually a really good episode for My Hero Academia, and it did a lot of things that it was supposed to do. For example, in the beginning of the episode, we had Eraserhead showing off just how cool he is under pressure. He hates media. We've all been told throughout the entire series that he hates the media and he has a temper. We already know that he has a very short temper. But despite all that, despite his hate for the media, despite his short temper, he was able to keep it cool and actually, keep calm and, continue on with the plan, show a little modesty, showing that, it's his fault. He takes full responsibility for the fact that students were hurt, that Bakugo was kidnapped, and he even showed that he truly believes in Bakugo, despite everything going against it, despite the fact that, Bakugo's personality in general fits more with a villain than it does being a hero. He still believes that Bakugo's convictions to be the number one hero, that they're basically nothing that the villains could fuck with, and he's basically saying, I trust Bakugo to come out of this. I trust no matter what happens, no matter what they try to do to him or what they say to him, he's not going to switch sides. And despite, the media's, constant attempts to try to, get him to flip script or, try to, break him under pressure, he kept cool. And, it showed just how much kind of character growth the guy had and how much trust he has in Bakugo. Not to mention, we got to see the build up with the team that's going to go rescue him. The two teams split together. Endeavor, All Might, Gran Turismo on one team going off to get, to rescue Bakugo. While, Mount Lady and all the other people, Best Genius, they all went to go take out the Nomus. And also did his job of reminding us that, even though Bakugo's kind of a hothead, even though he's, quick to anger and he's quick to jump into things without thinking, he is, a trained hero. He is, well, not a trained hero, but he's a hero in training. He's not just going to jump into a fight against a whole bunch of villains by himself without trying to think of a plan. And we saw that constantly throughout the episode. He was constantly trying to think of, all right, how am I going to get out of this? I can't take them all on by myself. I got to think of a way to, get out of this so I can get to that door and get out of here by myself. Now, ultimately, his no plan he ever came up with actually, ended up working, simply because of the fact that the hero showed up in time to actually save him just when Shigaraki was actually calling for All for One to come in and back him up by lending him his power. And you know what? Even did a good job of showing us that at this current moment, the League of Villains, they're really not that big of a threat. I mean, we saw it. They came in there, the heroes came in there and basically took them all out without even a second thought. They really weren't that big of a threat. The only reason why they've been such a threat so far is because they used sneak attacks. They attacked when, the heroes weren't expecting them to, and they mostly fought against the students. When it came down to an actual team of heroes coming in and trying to stop them, they were quickly outmatched, and they didn't really have an answer for it until All For One jumped in and actually saved the day by sending in all those no moves and obviously attacking all the heroes that actually attacked the normal base. And speaking of All For One, that's the biggest thing this episode did, which was show us just how much of a threat he is. I mean, let's see, he took out Mount Lady and Best Genius. Best Genius being the number 3 hero currently in the series. He took him out so fast that we didn't even get to see it happen. And after he did that, it got to the point where even though he has no idea that Midoriya and the rest of them are even there, he had just him being there alone, just his presence alone, has them envisioning their own death before it even happens. To the point where all 5 of them are kind of scared to move. They're all just kind of like, well, fuck, we're dead if he sees us at all. And it kind of just throws a wrench in their plans of, saying, hey, we're coming here to save our friend. So like I said, this episode alone was amazing. It actually did its job, and it actually was a really good episode. It was actually really solid of an episode. It's just the fact that, we've been hyping this episode up so much for the past 2 or so weeks because of what we thought was going to happen. As manga readers, we all know what's coming up in this arc. We all know the epic moment that's going to, it's basically going to get people who aren't on board for the series, who's basically been talking about how the series kind of overhyped. It's going to shut them up and get them on board. This moment that's going to happen in this current arc of the series, of the anime. But we all thought that was going to happen in this episode. Instead, we're going to have to wait till probably next week's episode, probably even the episode after that, before it actually happens. So it just goes to show we can't really overhype something before we actually see it. We actually kind of, just got to let things play out and see if our expectations are met before we actually say anything. But that's pretty much it for the episode. I am excited for next week's episode, and I probably will do a review for next week's episode too. I didn't do a chapter review for Boku no Hero Academia, chapter I believe 185. I think that's what this week's chapter was. I had to go back and look. I didn't do a review for it just because the chapter wasn't really all that important. I mean, the ending was kind of the ending was something to talk about, but it wasn't really all that important in general. Maybe I'll do a review for next week if actually something actually important happens. But for now, yeah, I'm probably not going to talk about it, especially not here since this is an anime only review. But yeah, I'm probably going to do a review for next week's anime episode if this video gets any likes or any views. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below what your thoughts and theories are for this video or for this episode. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.